We saw earlier how to read comma-separated value files, but you'll often run into text files that use different separators and delimiters. And that's because commas and double quotes are pretty common characters, and you'll often see data files where people want to use double quotes and commas in the field value. And so if you do put commas and double quotes inside the field value, you have to have a special way of escaping those values so that it's easy for Python to tell the difference between a comma that's used as a separator and a comma that's just inside of a field value, and the same with double quotes. So as a result, people sometimes use less popular characters that they can embed inside of or that they can use as separators and delimiters without having to worry about them being embedded inside of field values. And one particularly common combination is to use carets as delimiters around text fields, around values, and vertical bars as delimiters or as separators between field values. So let's go ahead and create a caret and bar file and then read that into a pandas data frame. So I'm going to start with the same comma separated value file that we were using before. And I'm going to open it in Notepad++, but any text editor will work. So the whole point of what I'm doing is to choose separators and delimiters that don't actually appear inside of any of these field values. And so I'm going to make sure that that's true by globally replacing caret with something that isn't a caret and globally replacing a vertical bar with something that isn't a vertical bar. So let's Control H to do find and replace. And I'm going to find all caret characters anywhere in this file and replace them with ampersand caret semicolon. So let's do replace all. Actually, that was fast. So there were 0 occurrences of caret in the file. And now let's do the same thing with vertical bar. And I'm going to replace that with ampersand vbar semicolon. Let's do replace all. And there were 2,852 vertical bars in this file. So now I know that I'm starting with a file that has no carets or vertical bars. So let's replace all of the double quotes everywhere in the file with carets. So that's my delimiter, and this will take a minute or two. Yeah, so there were 62,000 of them, so it took a while. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to replace all of the commas anywhere in the file with vertical bars. Okay, so 100,000 of those. So that should be everything I need to do. So you'll notice this is caret separated values or caret delimited values and vertical bar separators. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as, and let's call it mental health caret bar.csv. So it's not really comma separated values. It's now vertical bar separated values, but that's fine. And then I noticed that health was misspelled in the original file I downloaded. So let's call that mental health CB. So I'll save that in notebooks. And then let me go ahead and add a column, add a cell right below where I read, actually, hold on, right before where I was reading a CSV file. So here's where I'm reading CSV files. I'm going to insert a cell below there, and we'll add a markdown line. Read caret delimited vertical bar separated text file. And then let's go ahead and add a cell. And then I'm going to start with the same thing I did to read a CSV file. So data frame is pd.read read CSV, and then the name of the file, which is mental health cb.csv. And then I'm going to print the data frame and run it. I left my equal sign out, so let's try that again. So it actually read something, but what it did was it didn't see any commas or double quotes in this. So I ended up with the entire first line, the header row, getting read as a single cell value. And that was the first row. And then the second row was the entire second line, and then the entire third line, and so on. So it didn't find any separators anywhere. So I got just a blob for each row. But I can fix that. So I want to specify the separator, SEP, is equal to a vertical bar. And I also want to specify the quote character is equal to caret. Now, if you look at the documentation for read CSV, there is actually a parameter called delimiter, but for whatever reason, the people who did pandas decided that delimiters and separators were the same thing, and so delimiter is basically just an alias for separator, and that isn't what we want. What we actually want is quote char, and if I go ahead and read it now, it worked. So I end up seeing 1433 rows by 63 columns, which should be mostly the same as the 1433 rows by 63 columns that I got from the original CSV file. The only or main difference being that if I had any carets or vertical bars, I did have vertical bars. All the vertical bars in here are now represented as ampersand v bar semicolon.